Good. All right, it's official, man. How y'all doing? My name is Jefferson Pip Strickland. I'm excited today as I kick off my I'm Not Your Enemy podcast. That's good. I'm excited, man. Against All Odds has given me this opportunity to share my dream, my vision, and also gave me the necessary tools. To push my dream forward. Let me see. They shut it, ended. Try to get it back. Audio. Don't worry about it. Are we back?
Yeah.
All right. So tonight, I didn't realize what today was as far as holidays was concerned, but I'm very excited that the great Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday was today. So my topic today, man, what does love mean? From the War in the Mirror series, but I really wanted to touch on it from a lot of from other different angles, from relationships to our communities, to our families, to our loved ones. I feel that over time we have lost the understanding of what love is, what does true love mean, and also, man, I over the years, I see that a lot of us have a misunderstanding of what love truly is to begin with. I know a lot of us, when we think about love, we think about, relationships. When it comes to a family, we think about love as far as just the providing, the taking care of material needs. Like in a household, a lot of us parents feel that love is shown by just actions on how they support us, what they buy for us. Like a parent to tell you, I love you, man. I pay the bills. I give you a place to sleep. Relationship, we think that certain things we do guarantees that people understand that we love them. And the sad thing about that is it's just not necessarily true. In the hood, I consider myself to really love my homies. I consider my homies to really love me. We made a like a bond, a pact, where it's like, man, I'm gonna die for you. I die for you. I'll do the rest of my life for you. And to us, we pass that on and we embrace that as true love, as love. And we was wrong. Love to me, now that I look at it after we suffered so much, we took so many losses under the umbrella of love, that it caused me to really look at it, man. Like when I seen homies and people I know or loved ones I knew that came home from doing years in prison or years in the system or whatnot, and they come to the block, right? And everybody rushed and support them, man, no matter what the crime was. Man, I love you, bro. Man, I love you this, I love you that. But when I looked at it, I'm like, man, we love these people. Why are we giving them everything that's gonna send them right back, to the place they was that took their freedom? I seen a lot of homies get back to the block after being gone years, and the person they call brother put dope in their hand. To us it was love, man, because you're meeting a need. You met a need, man. I'm broke, man. This dude loved me because he helped me get back on my feet. He threw me out, man. He threw me a bundle. He threw me a package or whatnot. Man, so that was love. The homie slide you the heat. Man, here I got you, bro. You gotta look out and protect yourself. And we embrace that as love. Hook you up with the little local hood rat on the block or whatever, right? We took all that as love. But when you really break it down, man, you just literally put that person in position to get their freedom snatched away. And in fact, not even snatched away. You put them in a position to voluntarily give up their freedom. Because a lot of times, we look at the consequences we take in these systems and we blame everybody but us. We don't really look at the circumstance we put ourselves in, man. Like, if you love me, help me stay out. Help me live, man. Help me gain, help me grow. But it's hard to see life from that angle when you've been taught and conditioned to a altered version of what love is. You look at our households. How many of you guys that's watching this right now can just really say you grew up in a loving environment? A lot of us mixed up love and survival. A lot of us didn't really grow up on love. We grew up on how to survive. How many of you guys can look back and remember how many times your parents just hugged you? How many times your mom just set you to the side, man, and hugged you, gave you a kiss, man, I love you? How many of us as parents, fathers especially, have showed our affection to our kids and even our spouses? A lot of times we just assume, man, I love you, man. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't feel it. And why is that? I think one of our big reasons is that we never really understood what true love is. We never really had a real guidance on love. I know a lot of times when we were young, we might go to our parents, something they seem small, and they blow us off, right? Now to us, we hurt. Like I came to you in need, but because of life struggles and stuff, man, we missed it. Me, myself, I don't remember having a conversation with my dad growing up, period, especially dealing with love. I remember my dad telling me as a kid he loved me. Me and my mom had a talk years ago, and I asked my mom, I was like, when it came to being affectionate, man, that just wasn't her. I don't remember us just, hugging as kids with my mom and, I love you this, or I love you that, just we didn't do it. But when I asked her that, her response was, I didn't do it because mom and them didn't do it to us. So with that, it was like it brought more understanding to me on what a generational curse is. And I think one of the biggest generational curses that we face in our communities and our home is that we don't have a clear definition or a clear understanding of what love really is. A lot of times we look to a lot of people for love, different reasons. The reason why a lot of us join the hood, join gangs, is the love that's shown. A lot of us are in certain relationships because of the love that's shown, or what we feel the love is, or what the love should be. A lot of us think that my love should keep me in a bad or toxic situation. I always hear people say, love is the next thing, the closest thing to being insane. And for years, I believed that, because I'm like, man, love will make you do crazy things. People do crazy things when they're in love. Until I changed my understanding of what love is. I'm like, I don't think that love is is hand in hand or the closest thing with being insane. I think the insane part comes because we really don't have a understanding of what love is. So I will pose a question for you guys. What does love mean to you? And give my answer to save time. What does love mean to me, or what is being in love or loving somebody, whether it's a spousal type of relationship, the homies, true friendship? To me, love means giving a person every tool, every thing they need, every bit of ammunition they need, and then you trust that person not to use it. When you're in a friendship, right? our friends know our deepest secrets. You know what I'm saying? Our friends know everything that's our that make us vulnerable. You know, to love a person means you completely open up to this person. You know, I'm putting it all on the line. I was telling about the other day, it's like I give you the gun, I give you the clip, I give you, the ammunition to load the clip up with. You know, I'm preparing you to kill me. I'm giving you everything you need to destroy me. Then I hand you over the weapon, and I'm putting my love on the line. I'm trusting that you don't use it against me. You know, and that's a dangerous thing. Also, we look back at our leaders, man. Our leaders, when I look at what love is, man, that was true love that these people put their life, their freedom, their blood, their sweat, their tears into something that they couldn't even see the end of, but they was willing to take that risk. You know, you look at the great Dr. King. You know, King was willing to put freedom, health, life on the line for a dream that he probably realized that he himself wouldn't even see, but was still willing to take that fight. You look at people who stand up and go against the grain, man, the people that really hit the front line. You know, the mothers who marched. You know, the fathers who stood and was beaten. You know, because they understood and they grasped what love really was. You know, love is a sacrifice that we make on behalf of others. You know, in our household, our sacrifice is often tied into material related things. I work hard, you know, to make sure you got food on your table. I'm taking extra jobs to make sure the lights stay on. You know, I'm taking shifts. I'm taking shifts to make sure that them Jordans you want, you can get. You know, we have tied in our material things to describe what love is in our households. But haven't you guys realized, man, like them Jordans and stuff is good, man, but when's the last time you just sat down with your kid and said, I love you? You know, the last time that you had that conversation with your child, you know, or you hug them, man, or when they're hurt, you know, you really focus on their needs. You know, sit down, hear them out, listen. What's wrong? You know, show them with the affection, you know, of what love is. Excuse me. So another thing I look at, love is an action. I look at relationships. Even mine, I look at mine. I honestly say, man, when I started looking at in the mirror, you know, on how I can better show my love and not just talk about it, you know, and I realized that, okay, I got a wife, you know, who's doing everything she can to support me and make sure my life is better. But if my wife is doing 10 different things, you know, she's cooking, she's cleaning, she's taking care of the kids, she's taking the kids to school, she's working, you know, she got 10 different things she's doing. And I'm saying I love her. But instead of me helping ease the load, I add on to the load. You know, so I had to really look at myself too. I'm like, man, this ain't what I'm showing ain't love. What I'm showing is taking advantage of a person that's putting herself on the line. You know, if my wife is doing 10 things, how is it love that I add on 11? You know, love is okay. If I see my wife doing 10 things, but let me learn how to take 6 so she can do 4. Learning how to lighten her load instead of add on to it. You know, a different sacrifice. You know, with my kids, I had to learn for myself that, like, when I was little, we used to get hurt, and you know, my mom was tough. You know, get up. You know, you all right? Which I was, but it's like you don't really feel the love in that. You feel the discipline, you feel the toughness, but our definition of what love was, man, like, I think we missed it in a lot of areas. Also, one thing over here. Let me see. What does love mean? Look into our church homes, right? When we think about the church and our belief, and I talk about the church because I'm part of the church. My faith, my belief is the church. But I think we are missing a big component. And I think we lost our way to what love is. Love ain't cruel. Love is not beating down or making somebody feel bad, or using something that's supposed to be loving as a weapon. One of the toughest things for me before I decided that I needed to change my life was somebody who changed their life and then came and down me because I was still stuck. It's not love. If you know what situation I'm in or what situation I was in, how does belittling me for still being trapped love? If you found a way out, man, love would be, man, come back and get me in a healthy way, in a positive way, man. Love me. Be kind, be gentle. I know I'm living wrong. A lot of us that made decisions, we know the decisions wasn't right. But for some reason, that was the decision we was in because we didn't see another way out. But when you had a chance to love us out the grave, you pushed us back in. I made a comment years ago that if I had one foot in the grave and one foot out, man, I need a helping hand, not pushing it back. If you love me, help me out the grave. Don't throw dirt on me. If I'm so blinded to the truth, why are you adding salt to the wounds? It's not love. And then we get mad because people won't accept us. But it's hard to accept when a person is coming at you, man, and you know it ain't love. You can feel it. Just like in relationships in our hoods or in our homes or friendships, you can tell when a person love ain't genuine. And that's the reason why I feel like we're in the position we're in now. We're so lost. We're so out of touch because we lost or we never knew what love really meant. So if there's any, I see people watching, they got this new thing on there. I can't even, let me see. Ray Jean, I'm seeing your comment right now. I think what they thought love was, because I was given to them. Say that one. Oh, Ray Jean, she said, I think some gave what they thought love was because I was given to them. Loves won't at all best for you, for individual on good purpose. I don't know how they got it. That's true. And I think with that's exactly what I was saying. A lot of people, all of us, I ain't gonna say all of us, most of us, gave love based on what we assumed love was or what was given to us that we took as love. You look back at relationships, there's some women who stay in abusive relationships because their parents or their mother stayed in hers. So they teach their kids or the ones underneath them that if you love your family, you stay, whether it's toxic or not. Don't give up on your family. That's what love is. But can love really be measured to the point of self-destruction? If you're putting yourself in a position to be battered and bruised for no fault of your own, how could that really be love? How could we push the villain to be the hero to the point to where love has caused us to be damaged goods. That's not love. You beating my head in every day, that's not love. How of us grew up with getting whoopings. I mean, if you heard your parent ever tell you, man, I'm doing this because I love you, man, it's hard. It's hard to understand it as a child, because we didn't see the consequence that they seen. But a lot of times what we failed was that there was no explaining to the why. We know what it was, we know what happened, we got a consequence for it. But with no understanding to it, it's hard to understand or grasp what love is in that situation. Let me see, Coach Cal, how's it going, man? You wrote, you can't judge a book by its cover, but you can judge the depths of someone's pain by their behavior. Coach, that's a deep one. And I really agree with that. When a person, most of the times, and speaking for myself, growing up, when I acted out, that's just what it was. It wasn't the fact that, I was crazy or all that, man. It was something I was missing that I didn't know how to express. My behavior was really based on me searching for something I didn't even know how to grab. I didn't fully see the love that was supposed to be given to me. I didn't understand the way it was being expressed to me until I got a lot older. Then I seen things different. I got a different understanding, but it was still hard because I had to backtrack, and clear some things up. And I think one of the main things that I did learn through these years of self-growth was that I had to learn not only to forgive myself, but really love myself and find out who I really was, what really made me happy. I don't believe anybody can really give true love to anybody else until learn how to love themselves. Until you are happy with that person in the mirror, until you love the person, that reflection, how can you love anything else truly? Everything else after that, if you don't love yourself, it's going to be watered down. Oh, Ray, don't worry. So what would you say the true meaning of love is, Ray Jean? In your opinion, how would you explain what true love means? Try to see some comments I missed. Leona, I think most people usually imitate the idea of what they think love is based off the perspectives of what currently pleases others. Shoot, I think that hits a lot home. To imitate love, and I think exactly that's what it is in the hood. In a lot of our situations, man, we're imitating a love that was given, whether it's false or not. I had a conversation the other day. Also told somebody that even when I found out that the way we was living was wrong, I still did it. And when they asked me why, I was like, I'd rather receive a false love than no love at all. A lot of people do things just to feel for that void that they have to at least be touched on. It's one of the toughest things going through life, especially as a young kid, as a teenager, when you got so much emotional stuff going, you got so much going through your head, you got so many different battles, you're trying to fit in, you're trying to find yourself. And for you to go to the people that you feel should love you and you don't get it, it destroys a lot of us mentally and emotionally. And in our homes, whatever gaps are missing in our homes, somebody gonna feel it. Whether it's the homies, it's that no good man, it's that no good woman, it's that overwork, their job, extra late shifts. Just people do what they feel is necessary just to try to fill that void or that gap. You got some people who go in and out of jail, out of juvenile in the system, not because they like being locked up, because sometimes being locked up is the only structure they have. And they're loved. They become somebody because people in the house we don't know how to reach out to them. We don't know how to bring them in. We don't know how to adapt. We don't know how to show love because we don't really understand it. Excuse me, I'm trying to keep up with the comments. My guy, Roby. How you feel about it? I'm gonna ask you a question. He off camera. Come on. Bring my guy in. Oh yeah, move on. Oh. All right, got one of my childhood friends, man, Roby Collins in the house. I just want to ask you a question, bro.
Definitely, man. And you guys, forgive us for the feed. It's a little blurry right now. Work with us. We have we're in a building where they don't have routers or anything in here. So certain times, I don't know, we just kind of get this. We're working on that. FYI.
It's good. Yeah. So my question to you is, how would you describe love? What does love mean to you?
For me, love is action. You know what I mean? A lot of people speak about love, like, hey, like maybe like you going through something, they'll say, hey man, if you need anything, give me a call, right? Or I'm praying for you, right? Really, these are just statements. Like a lot of people, we programmed ourselves to say statements. Like on Facebook, something happens to somebody, we put the praying hands. Really, that's all we're doing. We're really not going back and we're not praying. We really don't. Like, so for me, love is action. It is a verb. It is somebody who is actually doing instead of speaking. For me, you know what I'm saying? You can show me that you love me by, well, it could be speaking too. I mean, depending on the situation. You know what I mean? But love is action for me. You know what I mean? It just really depends on the scenario.
How would you say the love that you received in the hood is different than the love you receive at home?
They take you in, man. Like, I grew up, out east. You know what I mean? And I never gangbang or nothing like that. But, I found myself being around a lot of gang members. I found myself being around the hood, right? And, the love that they showed me was way different from the love that I got at home. And we had these conversations before, right? At home, like my mom, she worked all the time. So, there's certain things she couldn't pay attention to when it came to me or my brothers or whatever, right? So when it came down to it, when I had an issue or something, I had homie over here, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I got you, don't even trip. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was weed, like you said, or female or whatever, you know what I mean? To me, I was love. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't really receive the love as a child that that nurturing love that I should have got as a kid. So for me, I think that's what strayed me away. You know what I mean? I was in the streets tough, man. Like, and then as I got older, I really started going to the streets for love, man. Like whether it was chilling with my peoples, you know what I mean? And not at home. I was never at home, you know what I mean? And for me, I had the homie like, hey, let's go rob. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I ain't got nothing. right? I ain't got nothing. And we going to rob, you know, I was robbing houses as a kid. You know what I mean? For me, you know, with somebody that's willing to go and do that with me, right, and have my back, for me, that was love. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds strange, but for me, that was love because I don't, like, I grew up in a situation where I didn't have no father. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anybody telling me, like, my mom did the best she could. I'm not taking nothing away from her.
Yeah.
But I didn't have anybody to come and say, hey, Ro, you know what I mean? That ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, I got something better for you. Let's go play this basketball, or let's go throw this football. All those things I did on my own. You know what I'm saying? Nobody came to me and told me, hey, Ro, you know what I mean? Let's go play this football. That was just things I did. You know what I mean? And then everything else that came with it, everybody smoking, drinking on the team. I mean, you know what I mean? So for me, that's what I was, you know.
So with that, just even hearing Roby speak about that, I think a big thing we missing in love is the time. The time spent, you know, like he stated, his mother worked a lot, no father in the home. So if mom was working a lot, that time is not there. I look at my mother's home with my siblings. My mom often, you know, she was full time. She worked 2 jobs, you know, very faithful lady to the church, you know, and she did what she had to do to keep the house in order. But with that, the time is not there. You know, when, like you spoke about the homies.
Yeah.
But they ain't got nothing but time.
Nothing but time.
You know, nothing but time.
Hey,
you know,
I was never at home, Pip. I was always either at a partner house or something. You know what I mean? So you're right. You know.
And I look at that same situation now, you know, where you sit at a park and you'll watch kids in the park all day long. And the first thing we think now is like, man, where their parents at? You know, but not realizing like, man, there's nothing different than what these kids are going through than what we're going through. Their parents are doing the best they can, but in turn, the time that needs to be spent is not there. And that's the reason that we have such an important duty to reconstruct the village. You know, to have positive time, you know, with our families, with our community, with our kids. Like growing up in Fieldwood Arms, now it wasn't the best place to live, not even close. But at that time, man, like the love was there.
Yeah.
You know, the homies looked out for each other. You know, we had the homie grandma, you know, she was the icy lady. You know, we had the candy house. But we had stayed within them apartments all day.
Yeah.
But it was constantly something to do. The time was spent. Then we went to the Boys and Girls Club.
I was there every day.
The Boys and Girls Club, that was our safe haven for
kids. That was safe haven. I was there every day, bro.
And we loved it because the time.
Yeah.
Right. We was able to go spend time there. You know, so the component that we missed in our homes, the neighborhood definitely filled it.
Right.
But over time, certain things was lost. Like I remember I was crushed when the Boys and Girls Club put an age limit and we couldn't come in no more.
Oh,
that crushed
me. Man.
Because it was like, man, now what?
Yeah.
You know, Stribley seemed like 1,000 years away. You know, Fieldwood Arms and Stribley. Yeah. You like, man, Stribley.
And then Stribley wasn't cool because that's where every hood cat went. And they was all there.
Unless you went to play basketball, man. Stribley's off the hook. But the time spent. And I would say that to anybody out there in any kind of relationship. You got to have the time. Put the time in. It's needed. There's no other way it can be done. With your kids, with your spouse, you know, friends, can make time. But, you know, there's certain stuff, man, that we have to make time for if we say that we love it. You know, I know people like the meme on Facebook that, what they say? These dudes love their dogs more than their children, right? Now, when you hear it, you're like, man, that's crazy.
Right.
But then when you look at the concept of what they really saying, you like, man, they might not be too off.
They might not be too off.
You know, I know people that's spending thousands on their dogs, right? It could be their hustle, their job, or whatnot, but thousands.
Yeah.
And to try to shortcut the family to save money because the dog needs something.
Mm. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think, how important is it to have a parent in a household that is involved with the kid? I mean, like, how important is that?
You know, I think I can't even put a level on how important that is. And the reason why I'm gonna say that, dealing with my two youngest kids, right? And I remember how they interacted with me,
Yeah.
and how they interacted with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, my wife was like, she basically, like, to sum it up, she was like, "Man, you're not affectionate.
Yeah.
You're not an affectionate person."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Man, what you mean?" She like, right? She like, "Watch this." So she called my daughter. She like, "Come here, lady." She like, "Yeah, mama." She like, "Give me a hug, mama, love you."
Yeah.
Right? So my daughter hug her. "Love you too, mama." I'm like, okay, well, that's what she's supposed to do.
That's what she's supposed to do, right?
So she like, now you ask her the same thing. I'm like, "Hey, come here." She like, "Hey, Dad, what's up?" I'm like, "Give me a hug, daddy, love you." She backed up and stuck her tongue out. Right? So I'm like, "I love you." She like,
Damn.
and I'm like, "Why my daughter won't?"
Why'd she do that? Yeah.
But then, like, it was funny,
Mm-hmm.
but it hit home.
Right.
Then I looked at my son. He's 3 now, but I couldn't get my son to hug me.
Really?
Couldn't get him to hug me, right? Then I realized, like, I'm not showing it. I'm assuming they understand that I love them. I'm assuming, hey, daddy going to work, every day to do this, do that. I love you, but not understanding the importance of that time being spent with
that quality time.
The quality, like now,
important.
When I first started, and I ain't gonna lie, when I first started, it felt weird to me. It felt weird.
Yeah.
Because I felt not just weird, it felt fake. It felt like I was being fake.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I love you.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't.
I'm trying to force it.
Yeah, I'm trying to force it. Like force them into it, but also force myself into it.
Right.
Until it became normal to me.
Yeah.
It became something that now I don't have to force it. Now when I come home, my son, "Daddy," rather give me a hug and stuff, but it took me a while to get there.
Right.
But then I understood that where I was going wrong at. I didn't really understand the importance of showing the affection to my kids.
Now, do you think it was because of how you were raised?
Absolutely.
And with you being a child isolated and, kind of growing up solo, you know what I mean? You had siblings, but you kind of grew up isolated. So
yeah, a lot of people didn't realize that I grew up separate from my siblings. And even that was a big thing that I dealt with too, as far as understanding love.
Yeah.
Because like where I was at in the arms, my great grandma that raised me gave me everything I needed.
Right.
I didn't want for nothing.
Yeah.
But it was something big in my life I was missing.
Yeah.
My grandma was very loving in words and action, except for the affection stuff. She wasn't affectionate. Yeah. Wasn't a bunch of hugs and "I love you" and kisses.
Yeah.
She definitely took care of me. And I remember having a talk with my mom about that, and she didn't understand. Like, you had everything over there, but I still made bad decisions. But what I told her was, I'm like, it was difficult to enjoy having everything if I didn't have nobody to enjoy it with. Like to me, it was like all that stuff I had, I didn't care. I'd rather just be with my siblings.
Right.
Just had an interaction, like the love. Like I wanted something that
you want that interaction, that
love,
that,
that bond. Like, man, I want to be there.
Right.
Like when I went to my mom's house, we got in a lot of trouble, but it wasn't as bad because I'm like, man, I'm with my siblings.
Yeah.
I'm with my cousin. I'm with my family. At the end of the day, I'm like, man, I gotta go home.
So how important do you think it is to have a community around you when you're growing up? And then
Positive community.
a positive community, right?
I think there's no other way that we can make it without one,
Mm,
honestly.
right.
When I look at our communities now and the lack of love, I understand, like, man, we in a bad spot. Within our communities, within our homes, at all around the board, from relationships, kids, families, churches, until true love is really established, and we in trouble. And you see it now, man, like we've lost the sight of love to the point that we have dehumanized each other. We don't even look at each other in a loving fashion as I'm gonna love you just because you're a human. And that's from the streets to our relationships. We don't longer even look at the opposite sex as loving. We looking at them as something to conquer or something. I'm gonna go hit these and I'm done. There's, the love has it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's easy when true love is gone or missing for you to go take another life.
Very easy.
It's easy, especially
real easy.
Especially, I think one of our biggest things is that we've lost the love for self. We've lost the I love you, but speaking to self. Like now, matter of fact, I'm backtrack. When about 11 years ago, when I decided to change, that I just need to do something different.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me, like, man, you left all that, you left the hustle and all this stuff. Why you leave? And my response, I was like, man, like for the first time, I'm happy with who I see in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
It was at that time when I was able to walk away from the nonsense and the smoke and mirrors that I was able to see me. And then during that process, when I learned how to love me,
Oh, that's powerful.
then I was able to change.
That's powerful. Because a lot of people don't love themselves. And this is why, and a lot of that is learned behaviors. Like for me, like growing up, and I don't know what it is about like our parents' generation, right? Like a lot of them, and I noticed when you said that, your grandmother was affectionate. Like I grew up in a household where I didn't really get like a lot of affection from my mom. Like I went and tried to hug her, she's like, "Oh, I'm tired," or you know what I mean? "Oh, I'm hot," or you know what I'm saying? And so that caused me to kind of keep everything in, right? The love that I had, and for after a while, I found myself not really being an extremely lovable person towards people because of it. You know what I'm saying? And so when you say looking in the mirror, you were comfortable, you were happy with what you saw, right? You were happy with what you saw. Once you had changed, and I think I had the same thing that happened to me. Well, not think, it was for a fact. When I changed, I was extremely happy with the person I saw. But with how I grew up and with me not getting as much affection and, like, don't get me wrong, like there was a lot of love in my house, but there was a lot of dysfunction too. So, when you're seeing a lot of this, you know what I mean, and you're taking all this in and you're not getting that affection, it does something to you. You know what I mean? And it can cause you to react to certain situations in a negative way when you're introduced to them because you haven't been prepared because the love and affection that you should have been getting, you weren't getting that, and you don't know how to give that, if you know what I'm saying. So I think what you're saying is very powerful about that reflection aspect.
Yeah, and when you said that, like the more you spoke on certain things just popped up. Like I'm thinking it's hard to love yourself when you never had a blueprint on what love was.
Oh, that's deep. That's powerful what you just said, bro. It's powerful.
So, I mean, really think about that. Like, how do I learn to love myself if I never had a blueprint on what love was or what love is? A lot of us are figuring out on our own and making up our own definition of what love is. And it's unfair to the generation underneath us. It's unfair to our kids. It's unfair to people who look up to us, that we leave them guessing on what love is. You know, like I had a question somebody asked us a couple of years ago about being a black man, like changing the narrative of what a black man is. Right? So my response was this. I'm gonna be honest, man. How are we gonna change the narrative of what a black man is if we don't know what a black man is? I don't know what a black man is supposed to be.
Oh.
You know, I was never shown a positive image of what a black man is supposed to be. What I do understand, a black man is a struggle. I understood the hate that we received. I understood the standard that was given to us, but I didn't know what a strong black man was. Like, what do you? I mean, you want me to become something? You wanted me to become something that I didn't understand. Me getting married, you know, I didn't learn until later that okay, I love this woman, but I don't know how to be a husband.
Eyes.
You know,
yeah,
I'm learning.
I went through that
on how to be a husband. You know, how to love my wife correctly. So you said you've been through the same.
I've been through that, man, and I'm gonna tell you, and it's crazy you brought that up because that was my biggest concern getting married. You know, because when I was in the streets, I mean, you know, I never was in a solid relationship. You know what I mean? And growing up, I never seen a solid relationship. You know, my mother, and I'm not bashing my mom. I love my mom. I just tell the real story to help somebody else. Like my mom had a few different husbands, a couple of boyfriends, different things like that. And so for me, seeing that, you know, I didn't even want to be married because seeing that, I'm like, man, she'd have been through these different relationships. You know what I mean? Marriage is, for me, it was out of the question, you know, and it was based on what I saw growing up. And then as I got older, I started having these habits of, you know, having different women and, you know what I mean? You know, so when I did come home and I finally decided to, you know, settle down, it was extremely foreign. Love was foreign to me. You know, I had to really learn how to love my wife in the way that she needed to be loved, learning her needs and things like that. And it took time, man, because when you are damaged, you know, a lot of us are damaged, man, and we don't even know it. Some of us need counseling. Really.
All of us need counseling.
Yeah, all of us need counseling.
All of us need counseling.
We stray away from that. You know what I mean? But I think, you know, even if you're not going to a therapist, I mean, even if you have somebody that you can talk to kind of get some of this stuff out, because a lot of this stuff that we grew up with, and I've been on you since I was a kid, so yeah. You know, I know a lot about your story, you know a lot about mine, but a lot of things that we went through growing up, I'm gonna just be honest, like the kids shouldn't have went through some of the stuff that we went through, and guess what? It had a negative effect on. Like you said with your son, you were trying to force it because you never really received it how you should have received it. I never received it how I should have received it. And guess what? We grew up and got married and really didn't understand that concept. So as I was in my relationship, I was hoping that I was even able to stay faithful to my wife. Thank God I was able to. But I was like, you know, because I was so damaged through life, through different relationships and this and that, I didn't understand, you know what I mean? But thank God that, you know, he gave me a wife who understood me and who was patient. Everybody don't get that, and I'm sure you have to say, everybody don't get that. So this is why a lot of divorces happen because, you know, the other side doesn't understand. My wife understood me because I'm a very complicated person to understand. And as we began to grow and I began to understand her, she began to understand me. Really, it took time for her to understand me because she, in a lot of ways, was my counselor. I'm gonna be real.
They all is. Hey, I got a thought. I want to put it out there before I forget.
Yeah.
Men, and speaking to myself, when you find a woman that you love, how I want to put this. If you find a woman like with me, I found a woman that I loved. I'm in love with my wife. But then I had to learn to love her enough to keep her. My words, what I'm like, man, you know, I understood that, okay, I got somebody that I know loves me. But did I even love myself enough to do the things necessary to keep the person that I'm in love with?
Ooh, that's powerful. That's really powerful.
You know, because when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
You find a wife, like with me, I remember talking to my father-in-law. And when he asked me, he was like, what makes you want to marry my daughter? I said, because I know I found something I'll probably never in life find again. So I got to hold on to it.
Right.
But not really understanding how to hold on to it, how to keep it. Okay, I got it. How do I keep it?
Right.
Right. So I'm in a transition now of learning how to truly love with not understand. Like I never seen it. Mm-hmm. Like I remember my mother-in-law taking groceries out the car, and I didn't help her. Right? I didn't help her, right? And I can see my wife's face like,
right? You ain't
like, how dare you not help my mama, right? Yeah. So I'm like, help her. You know, I'm like, she didn't ask me, but I thank God that I had a wife who was willing to be understanding.
Yeah. At
least hear where I was coming from. Now I look back now, I was dead wrong.
Yeah.
But I didn't grow up with feminine women.
Yeah.
Like I remember going to my grandma saying, I grab it, I can get it. Or my mom, I can get it. I can get it.
Yeah.
So I was under the impression, if they don't ask you for help,
then they don't
need your help.
Right.
But I found out real quick that that ain't it. That ain't right.
Right.
And so with that too, really understanding how deep true love means.
Yeah.
You know, to where, matter of fact, when true love after the honeymoon period, you know, for the first few months, year, you know, you honeymooning.
Yeah, everything's good.
You know, you in the house, And after that, man, stuff's gonna change.
It's gonna change after a while. Yeah.
But do you know enough within yourself to keep the love going? You know, I hate to see couples that we thought was the ideal couple
to look to. Yeah.
You like, oh man, they perfect.
They perfect. Yeah.
Then you turn around like, man, what happened? What they did? What?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay.
How did that happen? How did that happen?
Now when I look at it, I understand now that they were displaying an image of love.
What?
Like a lot of us can portray love in public good. But we really don't have it
it's
instilled in our hearts.
Come on.
To really be that behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Like that's like I look at a lot of love we show as the true love is the truest form of being a hypocrite. I think that's out there. Because you know, being a hypocrite is the mask. It's putting on the mask. I'm portraying something that I'm really not.
That I'm really not.
And a lot of us are going through the motions of love with a mask on. You know, some doing it purposely because love can be is definitely manipulated. Probably in everything we do. Our homes, the neighborhoods, you know, a lot of people use love to manipulate others. But for those, some of us, we really don't get it.
Right.
You know, we really just don't know. You know, like when you were a kid and you ever hear somebody say, man, you should know better. Right? You know better than that.
You know better than
that. Man, a lot of us really don't know better.
A lot of us don't.
You know, I didn't. And when it comes to love, it's like, I mean, but what's what they say? I'm faking it till I make it. I'm trying things out.
Right.
And I'm gonna hit this wall because I just don't know. And we got to cut that out.
And I think it's very important. And you know, this is why with my kids, you know, like I try to give them things that I didn't give. Like, you know, whenever I see my kids, I'll hug them. I'll tell them I love you. You know what I mean? I'll tell them, hey, you're smart. You can make it. You know, I tell my daughters, you're beautiful. You know, I tell my son, hey man, you're intelligent. You're gonna be someone one day, right? You know, things, words of affirmation, and actually showing that to them. You know, like our parents, and this, I mean, we got our parents' generation, and even this generation, but our parents' generation, you got to understand, like their parents were closer to the times of, you know, what's the word I want to look for? I don't want to say slavery, but I would say like, you know, post-slavery times where a lot of their parents' minds were messed up. You know what I mean? A lot of them didn't show a lot of love. You know, and I grew up in a house watching, you know, having abuse and, you know, and different things with my mom and my stepdad, you know, abusing my mom and all this. So thank God that I didn't grow up like that. I actually hate that. I hate it right now, right? But seeing it, a lot of kids grow up to be that. If they see their stepdad or their dad beating their mom, those are behaviors that they're going to, you know, recreate as they get older. You see what I'm saying? Because this is stuff that has been instilled in them, and this is what they've been seeing. You know, and for me, I had a lot of time to think. I think where I had an edge is I had a lot of time to think. I made some mistakes in life, you know, and I had time to think about what I wanted and what I didn't want. You know what I mean? And being incarcerated 10 years showed me that, wow, I don't like being lonely. You know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't like being lonely, so I knew I had to change how I was thinking. I can't get out and be messing with different women, and you know what I mean? Because I felt that loneliness. I wanted real love. You know what I mean? It took that for me to understand that I wanted real love. Like you said, I just didn't know how to keep it, right? Now I'm at the place now, like a lot of people, they see me, you know, doing a lot of stuff for my wife or doing things for my kids. I'm really making a point to them to show them something different. So when they get older, they're not in the situation that we were, where we don't know, hey, to grab the groceries or, you know what I mean, or to bring a gift to a party. I didn't bring gifts to parties until my wife showed. I can't make this up. I had no etiquette like that.
Like, so, hey, I'm here, man.
Yeah, I'm here. I thought, hey, you see me, I'm here. That's the gift right there. Right. You know. So
in our closing, I'm gonna wrap it up. One thing I'm gonna comment on what you just said that stuck out to me is that be careful, because if you don't have, if you're not careful, your lack of love will cause you to become the very thing that you hate. So be careful. And if you love yourself enough to get help. Love yourself enough to seek counsel to deal with the trauma. Love yourself enough to understand that the person that you are is not healthy. Love yourself enough to know, to be honest to yourself. Love yourself, love your family. Therapy works.
Right.
Seek counseling. Love yourself enough to get help.
That's right.
We spent too many years and decades. There's too much distrust that we have to the point to where we distrust our own self with even stepping out and getting necessary help that we need. So in closing, I'm not your enemy. Tune in next Monday at 7 as we go into I might stay with this topic, man. What does love mean?
It's a powerful topic. And
open up the thing. I want to speak next week on the difference between being raised on love and survival. Tune in. Thank you, everybody listening to your words, your encouragement. We love you. I'm not your enemy.
Yes. And I want to end it with this, tune in, guys, because Pip he has a lot of experience in life in general. He has a lot to say, man. I'm gonna just tell you a wealth of knowledge that you guys can learn from Mr. Pip. And Welcome to the podcast. Again, everybody, we are, our network is a little, a little blurry on certain sides, but we'll get it together. But we love y'all, and I'm not your enemy. What's he got the shirt on?
Oh yeah, I'm not your enemy. Y'all see our main three components: forgiveness, integrity, and trust. Without it, we doomed. We're gonna get it right, people.
Love y'all.